Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Kamen 64. How you guys doing today? I'm back with another video, and for today's video, I'm going to be talking about my history with the Kamen Rider franchise. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because today is it's Kamen Rider Day. This is the 55th anniversary of the Kamen Rider franchise. You know, the very day when Kamen Rider Ichigo premiered. I didn't know it was today until I saw it this morning. So I decided to go ahead and do this video. This was actually a video I've been planning on doing somewhat. I have been planning on doing videos talking about my history with certain franchises and such. And I figured, I'll do this first because Kamen Rider, and since that Kamen Rider is one of my main favorite franchises out there in the whole world, I figured, sure, why not? And since that is Kamen Rider Day, I figured it'd be a good way and to celebrate. Now I'm gonna let you guys know. So I'm actually a really huge Kamen Rider fan. Yeah, and I know it's just so in my name, Kamen Rider 64. I have some Kamen Rider stuff right here. Yep. I have some Kamen Rider accessories right here. I don't know if you're able to see. My brother's camera has trouble focusing sometimes. I have shown some of these off in previous videos and such. But I figured I'd bring them on here because show them again, in just in case anyone's never seen some of my Kamen Rider collection before. So yeah, this is pretty much my small Kamen Rider collection. I had this since I think early 2010 or late 2009. Funny, isn't it? Now I'm going to talk about my history with the Kamen Rider franchise. My introduction to the franchise itself. My introduction to the franchise was like, I guess I would say, back in the 90s with Saban's Masked Rider. Because now, to be honest, Saban's Masked Rider, I think I did watch the show when it was airing. I don't remember too much about it, honestly, but I assume that I did watch it because, I used to watch Power Rangers and VR Troopers, even though I remember Power Rangers a lot, VR Troopers very little, but my mom actually remembers VR Troopers, so I obviously definitely must have watched it. Now, I do remember watching Big Bad Beetleborgs and Missing Next to Taganov, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Next Mutation, mostly Saban related shows, and some of these, or some American Tokusatsu adaptations. Now, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, I definitely remember that one because I remember I had the toy of it and I had the underwear, so I definitely must have watched that show. I mean, I don't remember those or the only things. I remember the toy and underwear, but I don't remember too much watching the show. But, since I had those stuff, I definitely watch the show. But Saban's Masked Rider, I don't remember too much about. The only thing from Saban's Masked Rider I only remembered was, I think, a few scenes. And that one scene that I do remember of Masked Rider fighting against Robo Rider at the school, and then the whole school, the whole location changed, when he jumped in the air, the whole location changed, and they were teleported to the quarry. I actually do barely remember that clip, but I remembered it like in a different version, like in a different frame, Because sometimes when you're young, you don't particularly remember a lot of stuff. But now, sometimes you do tend to remember some things, but you thought things that turned out differently. Like, let's say you remember a scene of, I say like Thomas the Tank Engine, for example. The season 2 episode, Thomas Comes to Breakfast. I remember the scene where Donald and Douglas pulled Thomas out of the house. I actually thought Donald and Douglas were connected together, honestly. That's how I really thought, but I didn't know, like, they were separate engines. Something like that. I use that as an example. So when you're a kid, you kind of have these different thoughts and stuff. Thinking how things turn differently, but I'm pretty sure you get what I'm saying. But other than that, that's pretty much all Saban's Master Rider that I pretty much only remembered, honestly. But and then I found out about Saban's Master Rider years later. In 2007, when I was on Wikipedia and stuff, I found out that he was in the episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the 3-parter A Friend in Need. The season 3 opener, which was basically a backdoor pilot for his series. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, that's my brother. Yeah, he sneezed. Sorry about that. I had to cut out for a second. My brother almost walked in. He actually walked in, but actually, and he sneezed earlier, so I had to cut out there for a second. So yeah, so Master Rider, he was in the 3-part episode in the season 3 opener of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, A Friend in Need, which was a backdoor pilot to his series. Now, what is kind of interesting enough is that Saban's Master Rider, the TV series, well, yeah, it turned out being a bad series. It flopped, and only the first couple episodes aired on Fox Kids, and then because the ratings were so low, they just dumped the rest of the episodes on syndication. And from what is also said that the toys didn't sell well, unfortunately. But Master Rider was pretty much a bad show, mainly because of how it was handled. Furbus was a character that was completely unnecessary, and the main thing that the show failed, reason why the show failed was because it was more of a comedy, and it was just, it didn't do what VR Troopers and Power Rangers did. VR Troopers and Power Rangers both had like an action-oriented tone to them. But Master Rider was kind of like comedy. It was kind of like, I guess you could say Leave It to Beaver. But Master Rider, it had potential and it could have been better. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. And the idea of using Jay and Zeo, footage from Zeo and Jay, in there didn't particularly make any sense. It made no sense at all. Like, it was just kind of dumb. And, like, Saban actually thought, like, kids were stupid, were dumb to think that, they saw Zeo and Jay footage, they'd be like, the kids, they wouldn't tell the difference. But, I'm pretty sure kids probably did tell the difference. And heck, back in 2008, when I was looking up footage of Saban's Master Rider, I was looking up clip on the episode Stranger from the North, I think that's what it's called, when they were using Jay and Zeo footage. I actually saw clips of Jay. I was like, hey, that suit looks different. Blacker, Master Rider's suit looks different. Like, Saban, come on, Saban, you could at least been creative. Like, you could have had Jay and Zeo as like other Master Riders that Master Rider would meet later on. And that could be looked at as like maybe like an early precursor to the secondary rider gimmick. The concept of the secondary rider. And other riders. What? That's what I'm saying. But unfortunately, Saban's Master Rider was a huge flop, and unfortunately, that's been the only American tokusatsu adaptations, alongside another one that I will mention later on. Which is also a Kamen Rider adaptation, but it's one of the only one. But Master Rider was so far one of the only American tokusatsu adaptations to never see a home media release, a DVD release. Unlike Power Rangers, VR Troopers, and Big Bad Beetleborgs, and even Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, even that has a complete series release. It has a DVD release. Well, I guess I could say complete series release, DVD release. But Master Rider hasn't. But well, why is that? I guess maybe because since that the show was bad and the show was poorly received, and the rumors that Satoru Shimori hated the show so much that he did not allow Americans to adopt Kamen Rider again. And also the fact that I think I heard that it was actually Toei that really didn't like the show and decided not to allow Saban to adopt Kamen Rider again. We don't really know what's true, honestly, unless Toei gives out like some kind of statement or something. I don't know. But unfortunately, I think I also heard that one of the reasons why Saban's Best Rider has not seen the DVD release was because of licensing issues, licensing something, or maybe they decided not to release the show because the show's that bad. Yeah. Also, rest in peace to the actor T.J. Roberts who played Dex. He passed away back in 2022, but nobody knew until a fan reached out to his dad, and his dad confirmed it. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, he was a good actor. He was actually a star in the 90s. He did a lot of movies and such. I think they were straight to home video movies. Tiger Heart and them. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, no, just to let you guys know that Saban Smash Rider was actually going to be totally different, actually. It was actually supposed to be. It was actually supposed to be, It was actually supposed to be actually more of a serious show in a way, and like the season 3 part of Power Rangers that was supposed to lead into the Master Rider TV series, but the last minute they decided to change the format because Power Rangers, while season 3 was coming out at the time, the ratings for the franchise were starting to go low, and they thought that connection with if Master Rider had a connection with Power Rangers, the ratings for Master Rider would probably go down or bring Master Rider down, so they decided to destroy any connection. And because so the Master Rider TV series and the Master Rider, A Friend in Need, are two different versions of Dex. Dex in A Friend in Need and Dex in the Master Rider TV series are two totally different characters. In a way, because in A Friend in Need, Dex has no connection with Count Dragon at all. But in the Master Rider TV series, Count Dragon is his uncle, and King Lexian's son. No, not necessarily. No, not son. I think nephew. Yeah, I think son. I don't know. I forgot. So Count Dragon, in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he had no connection with Dex, King Lexian, them, or the E Knights at all. And in the Master Rider TV series, he's like a family relative of them. Those are one of the differences. Now, years later, my other introduction to Kamen Rider. So Master Rider, I guess, was somewhat my first introduction to Kamen Rider, but I didn't know about Kamen Rider at the time. I don't remember the show. Because, Master Rider, as much as we hate the show, some of us despise the show, we gotta admit, it did kind of got us into Kamen Rider, and if it wasn't for that show, we probably would never know what Kamen Rider was. Unless if Power Rangers were still going on, and we eventually just found out about VR Trooper, and then we found out about Super Sentai, and then we found out about Kamen Rider through there. So years later, I think I saw. Now back to my introduction to the franchise. I think years ago, I think like in the early 2000s, I saw some bootleg figures, and I think I saw some pictures of the riders from Kamen Rider Ryuki. I think it was. That's from what I remember. So it was. I know, there are these bootleg stores. There's stores that sell bootleg figures and such, and some of them will come from Japan or other countries. So I guess that would be one example. Now, my true, and I guess first introduction to Kamen Rider would probably most likely have to be Kamen Rider Kabuto, which is actually said to finally get a 20th anniversary special. Well, we actually knew it was going to happen because we saw set photos and there was a small little teaser showing the logo, and now it's been confirmed. There's an image online, showing the white Kabuto and Kamen Rider Attack So I guess like that White Kabuto was kind of like a power form of his or something, maybe. But Kamen Rider Kabuto, I was introduced to Kamen Rider Kabuto like on looking on YouTube. This was in late 2006. Well, 2006 was the year where Kabuto was airing in Japan, and as well as Go-Go Sentai Bokenger, which many of us American fans know as Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. And that's how I knew about the Mercury Ranger. You know, this was before Operation Overdrive, aired, I saw some clips of Operation when Operation Overdrive aired, I did saw some footage of Bokanger, and I saw, Boken Silver. That's before, he was adapted as the Mercury Ranger, and I saw the Central Knight in his full night mode, I saw a clip, when they were doing the roll call. So yeah, 2006 was when I was really starting to, know about Kamen Rider. Well, when I first saw Kamen Rider Kabuto, I didn't know what it was, but I thought it was cool though. I thought it was amazing. It was 2006. I was on YouTube a lot. I was learning a lot of stuff. The Power Rangers, Super Sentai. I didn't know what Super Sentai was at first. I thought it was just a Japanese version of Power Rangers, and I thought the Japanese version made Power Rangers weird and all. But I found that came first before Power Rangers. That Power Rangers actually just takes the footage from its Japanese version. This was before I knew it was called Super Sentai. Yeah. And then, so Kabuto was actually my first introduction to Kamen Rider. And then I looked up Kamen Rider online, and I just saw some pictures of, I think I saw the pictures of other Kamen Riders as well. So, that was something. How, now, and then over the summer, I did saw that Superhero Time with Kabuto and Bokenger. I was like, oh my god, hey, is that Operation Overdrive? And that's like, and that Red Beetle Superhero, and I had no idea. I didn't know that those shows were connected or something. But it was like that Superhero Time, block thing. It was the second one. The second Superhero Time. For Kabuto and Bokenger, where it has Tendo's like Haitian and Boken Red. He's like, ready, Bokenger, start up. The camera zoom around. That's honestly the best one, honestly. And so yeah, I did learn, and also in 2007 I did learn about Saban's Mask Rider. I looked it up on Wikipedia, And then a year later, after in 2008, that's when I started to know more about Saban's Mask Rider. I looked it up, it was on the Ranger Central, because Ranger Central was also had other American tokusatsu adaptations as well. Not just Power Rangers. Well, if you've seen Ranger Central, you know what it is. I watched Ranger Central, and I was looking at some stuff, on Ranger Central, Power Ranger Central. It's a Central theme website, something Power Rangers related, but it also had other American tokusatsu shows like VR Supers, Master Rider Beetleborgs, and Super Human Samurai Cyber Squad, even Mr. Knack and Tegronol, pretty cool. And I think Kamen Rider has one and two as well, and Metal Heroes, maybe Ultraman. I don't know. So, in 2008, I was learning more about Saban's Mask Rider and learning how it was, not a lot of people liked the show. People was talking about how bad it is and such, And I was starting to learn more about Kamen Rider that same year as well, in 2008, Being on YouTube a lot, And then I got to find out news about Kamen Rider Dragonite. That Kamen Rider Dragonite was going to be coming out soon. It was going to be adapted from Kamen Rider Ryuki. I know I haven't seen Kamen Rider Ryuki at the time. I don't know much about it. But then I got to learn more about some of the other Rider series. And then now in 2009, I guess will have to be the year when I started to get into Kamen Rider, 2009, because in 2009 Kamen Rider Decade began to air, and and Kamen Rider Decade what was kind of cool about Kamen Rider Decade is that Kamen Rider Decade was an anniversary series, and Kamen Rider Decade featured appearances from the other past Comrade series from Kuga up to Kiva. Now, sure, in the show, it's just like different versions of them, versions of them, like variant versions of them, different versions of them. Not the actual writers from each of their respective seasons, but rather just like alternate universe, something like that. AR, like alternate reality, I think that's what it stands for. So, and Kamen Rider Decade was actually the first Kamen Rider series that I actually watched fully in entirety because episodes were being uploaded on YouTube. I say 2009, 2010, and 2011 was the Kamen Rider YouTube era. Definitely the Kamen Rider YouTube era, because that's when Kamen Rider was episodes of Kamen Rider was going to be uploaded on YouTube and such. And that was a really fun time. And now I do remember when I was in high school. I think this was in late 2008. I was in a computer class and I was looking up the Kamen Rider Decade website, and I saw Kamen Rider Decade and the other writers. Well, the other Haitian writers. The other Haitian writers had the same belt he had on as well. I know that was just showing that him transforming into them. Well, I found out about that later on. I thought it was just like some kind of fun little transition, like transition, like all the heroes and now up to the current one. Something like that. I thought it was pretty cool, but it turns out it was just decade in the middle, and all these the other Haitian writers having the same belt on. It was just him transforming into them. But it was still cool nonetheless. Now, also in 2009 was the premiere of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Now, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight did have the first episode premiered in 2008. Only the first episode appeared in 2008, but it was just like a early preview, and then the series ran fully all throughout 2009. And so some people will look at Kamen Rider Dragon Knight as like a 2008 series instead of a 2009 series. I always saw it as a 2009 series, and I do still see it that way. Not sure they had the first episode air early in late 2008, and it is kind of looked at as a 2008 show, a show that premiered in 2008, even on IMDb. But then again, it ran fully in 2009, and since that it had, but just because it had the first episode air like in late 2008, I'm not sure if you want to say that really counts in a way. Now, and I do remember seeing the trailer for Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, and the trailer was pretty badass. And now here's the fun thing about that trailer for Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. There are some scenes in that trailer that didn't make it in the show. I mean, some of them were just stock footage from Ryuki. Understandable, but there was this one scene that was not stock footage, it was original footage. And it was Zabiax in Kamen Rider Rat's body. And he's talking to someone and he's saying, "Won't be long now." Now, I didn't know that was him, it was, I thought it was like some kind of, like one of the good guys or something. But yeah, that's one scene that did not appear in the show at all. It was never seen. So it was probably deleted, or maybe it was just made exclusive to the trailer. Because there are some movies that have trailers that don't appear in the actual movie, and I don't know if some of them were, most of them were obviously deleted scenes, but I'm trying to think maybe, right now I'm trying to think, maybe some of them were just exclusive to the trailer, just made for the trailer only. I don't know. But other than that scene did not appear in this series at all. If you go watch the Kamen Rider Dragon Knight trailer, which is still up on YouTube, that scene is still there. You can find that scene. That scene was like, "Won't be long now." Well, I did kind of like that scene a little bit. I kind of like the vibe of it. I don't know. That's just me. I like certain scenes sometimes. Now, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, it was a great show. It was pretty awesome. It was really amazing. The only time we ever got a good Kamen Rider adaptation. And one of the things I do like about Kamen Rider Dragon Knight is how serious that it was, and it had a darker tone. Kamen Rider Dragon Knight basically showed that American tokusatsu adaptations don't have to be these cheesy, kiddie, shows that, Power Rangers, VR Troopers, to some extent a little bit, and Big Bad Beetleborgs do, because and even Master Rider, and even some of the later seasons of Power Rangers, they show that it can be, it can have a dark and serious tone. Now there have been other Power Rangers seasons that had dark and serious tones, Time Force, and I would also say Lightspeed Rescue 2 as well. And even some of the Disney era seasons, I would say Jungle Fury had some dark elements, the whole thing about Dicey and stuff, little spirits and such. And RPM, definitely RPM, which appeared the same year as Dragonite. RPM and Dragonite, if those two were to air alongside each other in 2009, that would have been our version of superhero time. Just picture. Yeah, but both of them aired on different channels and they were owned by two different companies, so unfortunately it was never going to happen. Unless if Disney XD were to, if ABC got the air rights, ABC Kids got the air rights to air Kamen Rider Dragonite, and if CW4 Kids got the air rights to air RPM, that probably could have been something like that. RPM was planned to be on, originally was supposed to air on Disney XD and was supposed to have a time slot alongside Aaron Stone, which was directed by Bruce Callis, who directed SPD Donaldson, SPD Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and Jungle Fury. Yeah, RPM was supposed to have a time slot alongside Aaron Stone, but Disney decided to put it on ABC Kids, and pretty much set RPM up to die, basically, unfortunately. Huge bummer. For RPM, you deserve better. But yeah, it would have been cool to have both those shows, RPM and Dragonite, air alongside each other. American Tokusatsu double feature. Just picture. Almost a what if sometimes. Kamen Rider Dragonite was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it got low ratings and the toys came out late. And they didn't even air the final episode on CW4 Kids. They just had an exclusive to the website, which was a load of bull in my opinion. But we're here it was because of low ratings. But Dragonite, one of the reasons why I got low ratings was because CW kept changing the time slot. Just couldn't just leave the show where it was. Couldn't leave it alone. I kind of hate when TV channels always make these dumb, stupid mistakes. Okay, when something's not broken, don't fix it. All right, don't fix what's not broken. Seriously. Overall, Kamen Rider Dragonite, pretty cool, awesome. It sucks that series has not gotten a complete series release yet, unfortunately, which is a huge bummer. Here's hope to that whatever Discotech gets the rights to release it. I was hoping that Soundtrack Factory could release it. Well, since they release Kamen Rider Ryuki on Blu-ray. But I don't know if Sound Factory is still in that market of releasing stuff on Blu-ray and DVD and such, physical media. I think so. I don't know. I haven't got anything for Sound Factory in a long time, honestly. I got some Sound Factory DVDs, well, the Beetleborgs DVDs, the first 3 volumes. That's about it. I still need to track down Volume 2, the final volume, Beetleborgs Metallics. Yeah. Discotech, hopefully you release Kamen Rider Dragonite on Blu-ray. Or maybe, or DVD Blu-ray or Blu-ray SD, Maybe someday, who knows. Even though it seems unlikely. But yeah, but Saban's Master Rider and Kamen Rider Dragonite were the only 2 American adaptations we had so far. I remember watching Kamen Rider Dragonite a lot on the CW. Forgot to mention that. And I used to just love the show. I just kind of thought the show really kept me intrigued. I was reading up about the show on the Wikipedia. The upcoming episodes and stuff. And I found an edited Wikipedia about them making some, how you can go with Wikipedia and almost edit anything, and some people edit out some misinformation about the Show Brothers and such. They were like some different type of characters. I don't know. Yeah, Wikipedia. Can you still trust Wikipedia? Once in a while. Not always. Well, every franchise has its own wick. You know, Kamen Rider has its own wick. Super Sentai and Power Rangers have their own wick. Metal Heroes have their own wick. Ultraman has their own wick. Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Arthur, Thomas the Tank Engine, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Blade, Metabots. You know, every franchise has their own wick. So, even those can be edited. You know. So, yeah, you know, aside from Saban Smash Rider and Kamen Rider Dragonite, and also watching Kamen Rider Decade. Over the years, now I didn't end up watching Kamen Rider Double on late 2009 and in 2010 as well. Episodes were being uploaded on YouTube, and the same with Kamen Rider O's. Episodes were uploaded on YouTube, and most of those got quickly taken down because of copyright. And then I kind of followed with the franchise soon afterwards from onwards, Force, Wizard, Gaim, Drive, Ghost, so on and so forth, And, one of the things I was hoping for was possibly we get another Kamen Rider adaptation, done good like Kamen Rider Dragonite. Now, in 2011, Saban Brands did trademark Power Rider, which led most of us to believe that it was planned to be another Kamen Rider adaptation, like Saban was planning to take another crack at a Daphne Kamen Rider again. Unfortunately, nothing came of it. The trademark expired in 2014. It kind of sucks. So I guess maybe Saban was possibly maybe planning on adapting Kamen Rider again, but maybe he decided, this probably wasn't worth it. This is a huge bummer. Now I still have hope that maybe we can probably get another Kamen Rider adaptation, but honestly, it does seem very unlikely at this point. I guess maybe it's kind of not really needed anymore because Kamen Rider is starting to be brought over here in the West in some shape or form, and we're getting some of the series here legally, so it's pretty much no need to adapt it. That's what most people say, and I'm sorry to agree with them. Now, and I guess this shows that American tokusatsu adaptations are pretty much probably going to be done and over soon. Like, think of the past, Now, Disney did adapt, the 2021 South Korean tokusatsu series, Armored Swords into Armored Swords last year, in 2025, a couple months ago. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope that American tokusatsu adaptations could come back and still be a thing. I'm actually wondering if Space Sheriff Gavin Infinity will get an American adaptation as maybe a new season of VR Troopers or a reboot or something. Continuation or one of those things. I think continuation will be awesome. So American tokusatsu adaptations, maybe there's a possibility that they could probably still come back eventually in the future. Who knows? But overall, I think that'll be. But some Kamen Rider, I will follow the franchise onward, forward. I will watch clips of each new Rider series. My brother, he's also into Kamen Rider as well. He likes the franchise as well. But and he got a couple of stuff now. These were actually his. These were actually his. But he didn't want them anymore, and he ended up giving them to me. I think he got these at Anime Boston. I think it was Anime Boston 2019. Somewhere on there. Yeah. Yeah, Anime Boston 2019, and also Anime Boston's this week. I'm going to be going for the last day on Sunday, so there might be some popular YouTubers there. Who knows? But me and my brother, we still keep up with Kamen Rider. he watches Kamen Rider. As me personally, I haven't watched much of it because I have been trying to find sort of websites and sources like where to watch it and check it out. Uh, it is the episodes are streamed on Tokusatsu's YouTube channel. I do pop on that YouTube channel once in a while, but for the most part, I kind of get distracted by other things and such, and I keep forgetting. Now, I did borrow the Kamen Rider Kuga Blu-ray from my local library in Brookline. I took it out a couple times. And I am meaning that Kamen to bring out getting the Kamen Rider Ryuki Blu-ray. And also the Kamen Rider Geats Blu-ray. I'm gonna try to get those Blu-rays before they go out of print, and they are not being sold anymore. Speaking of Blu-rays, I just forgot one more thing. Hold on a second. Hey, I'm back. I forgot. I want to go grab this. Yeah, I actually forgot. I had Kamen Rider 01 on Blu-ray. I'm so sorry. I owe this an apology. I did got this from I forgot, a couple of years ago. I forgot what year I got it. Somewhere around there, Pretty cool. And so, this is pretty much my Kamen Rider collection so far, Everything you see right here, unless I'm not forgetting anything else. I'm sorry. So, it's a pretty small collection, But I do plan on getting some more collections stuff soon, I am thinking about getting Kamen Rider Zed's belt. Somewhere around the line, when I get enough money. I think I got enough money right now. I could probably get on Tokusatsu, Toku Collectibles, But other than that, that's kind of been my main introduction to the Kamen Rider franchise, I still follow the franchise to this day, I still love the franchise. I think it's my number one favorite franchise of all time, right surpassing, right up there with Power Rangers, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, Sonic the Hedgehog, and a couple others, When I was a kid, I had many different favorite franchises, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and also SpongeBob, and also other shows like, Metabots, I mean, my main favorite franchises were Thomas the Tank Engine and Bob the Builder. Well, mostly Thomas the Tank Engine. And I got into other franchises over time, before Thomas the Tank Engine was my least favorite franchise, and now I think my least favorite franchise will have to be Kamen Rider, or I think Kamen Rider or Marvel, or Dragon Ball, But I would probably say Kamen Rider is my least favorite franchise right now, because I just love the franchise a lot. There are a lot of franchises I like, and like their concepts and stuff like that. Many shows, like Thomas the Tank Engine, Bob the Builder, Arthur, Theater Tugboat, SpongeBob, stuff from Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, anime, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade, Metabots, Sailor Moon, Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha, Ursa Yasura, Demon Slayer, so many, Sorry if I'm just going up and off topic, but just talking about franchises that I like and enjoy. But Kamen Rider has kind of been, I think, my lead one, There are franchises that I used to enjoy a lot when I was a kid, but but then I kind of move away from those franchises. I still like those franchises, but I kind of move on, because you like one franchise, but then you kind of get bored with that franchise and you find another franchise that you're more interested in. It happens over time. And now I'm gonna let you guys know the origin of my name. Kamen Rider 64, how that name came to me. why my name is Comrade 64. My YouTube channel's name is Comrade 64. Even though I rarely review that many Comrade stuff on here. Well, here's the thing. Apparently, when I was thinking about making a YouTube channel, like, I guess I would say somewhere around 2013. Yeah, it was somewhere around 2013. I got like this camera that I found. Well, actually, I think my mom found it, or my brother or something. My twin brother, they found this camera somewhere. A person lost it or something. Too bad for that person. And then I started using that camera to film videos and make YouTube videos and stuff like that. One of my early days on YouTube from late 2013, and most of those are still up on YouTube, Now, when I was starting to make a name for my YouTube channel, I decided to go with Kamen Rider 64 because I was a fan of Kamen Rider, and I also I did like Nintendo 64. I just thought 64 was a great name, was a great number. Put next to something like I thought Kamen Rider 64 was just, and I just came up with the name Kamen Rider 64, and the name pretty much kind of stuck, and then I just ended up using that name. I think I had a name for other accounts as well, like IMBD and such, but and that's pretty much how my name pretty much kind of became to be, and I ended up keeping that name, and I still keep this name to this day because I like it, and I think it's an awesome name. You're unique. Kamen Rider 64, a Kamen Rider game for the Nintendo 64. Well, I think Kamen Rider fits well with PlayStation mostly, honestly. Kamen Rider and PlayStation go hand in hand, go well with each other. That's just me. But yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Happy Kamen Rider Day to all you Kamen Rider fans. We have a whole bunch of awesome announcements. The Kamen Rider Kabuto 25th anniversary special. Kamen Rider Den-O is getting anniversary special next year in 2027, because 2027 will be the 25th anniversary for Den-O. Like this year, 2026 is 20th anniversary for Kabuto. Fi's got a 20th anniversary special back in, I think, 2024 or 2023. Well, I think it came out in 2024, honestly, or 2023, I don't know. Because it was celebrating the 25th anniversary of Kamen Rider Fi's, We also got Kamen Rider animated series is in the works, and also forgot we got the Kamen Rider Agito anniversary special. Yeah, Agito and Kabuto anniversary seasons. I wonder what other anniversary seasons should get a treatment next, special treatment next. I think O's, O's is anniversary season. Force, I don't remember the time. Ghosts, not a lot of people like Ghosts. And we got a trademark for a logo reveal for the Kamen Rider season that's going to premiere next year. People say next year. Well, it's obviously going to come out this year, late 2026, and that's Kamen Rider Myths. I think that's what it's called, Kamen Rider Myths, or something. Looking forward to that. I think we did hear rumors that the next Kamen Rider season was going to be a firefighter inspired base Rider series. That's just what I heard. Well, I guess you can't always believe rumors. But yeah, it's a good day for Kamen Rider fans. Kamen Rider fans like myself, we all can rejoice because we're living great right now. Eating great with the franchise. It's a rider kick all the way, for sure. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. You guys can tell me what was your introduction to the Kamen Rider franchise. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And hope you guys like this video. Sorry if I went a bit off topic and all over the place and stuff like that. What do you expect to see more from the Kamen Rider franchise? Do you hope that we get more good stuff? You hope Kamen Rider doesn't go on a hiatus like Super Sentai is, or gets officially canceled, or gets replaced or anything? Are you guys looking forward to the Kamen Rider Zest and Super Space Star Gab and Infinity double feature movie coming out this summer. Feature movies coming out this summer. And do you guys hope that we get another Kamen Rider adaptation? Let me know in the comment section below. Anything you want. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I'll see you guys later. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I have more videos coming out in the future. This is Kamen Rider 64. Signing out. Rider kick. Take it easy, guys.